In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the 501st Legion ARC Troopers Special Action Figure set, released towards the end of 2020, and it includes Echo, Jesse, and Fives here. I believe it was announced as a Hasbro Pulse exclusive at the time. I did manage to get a pre-order in, and I recall the pre-order only ended up lasting a few hours at most. And I think there were some issues with the server where there were so many people ordering it at once that it crashed. And at the time, we were kind of starved for action figures, especially Clone Troopers at the time. And Clone Troopers that people really wanted. Last time before this Fives that we got was during the Clone Wars animated line. And by 2020, it's an extremely expensive action figure. It still is to this day. So it was nice to finally get another Fives. Jesse, this was the best Jesse that we've gotten today. Again, he was released in the Clone Wars line. Became very expensive, very hard to find. And Echo as well. I don't think the Echo action figure from the Clone Wars line has become too expensive. Nowhere near as much as those two. But still, Echo's a fan favorite, and lots of people want to have an action figure of him. And especially an ARC Trooper Echo at that. So for me, this was one of the most exciting action figures that we got at the time, and it could arguably be some of the best TVC action figures that we got of 2020. So let's go ahead and take a look at this set here, or the package for the set. So Star Wars Special Action Figure Set. These were really popular during the original run of the TVC line. Unfortunately, we don't really seem to get too many of these anymore. I think the Dr. Aphra set and this one and the Cave of Evil set are about the only ones we've really gotten. I wish Hasbro would bring these out more often, and there's so many opportunities they could take with it. Unfortunately, that doesn't seem to be the case right now. And it does have that metallic look to it, so it doesn't show up too well in the light. As you can see, there's the iconic image from New Hope there, the Star Wars logo. 501st Legion ARC Troopers has Echo, Fives, and Jesse. And one of the best parts about this set, or here's the side of it here first, is this image back here, which is how I have the action figures replicated right now. And there's the bio there for you. A little bit about each of the three clones. As you can see, there's the Republic flag in the background with some gunships and the three clones there. This package was so nice that I didn't have the heart to get rid of it, and I don't think I will. It might be something I frame someday. And same thing on the side here. So that's the package for the set, and so all three of the action figures are the exact same thing other than the head sculpts and the paint, but same accessories, same molding and everything. So I'll just run through it once with, we'll do it with Fives. I think my Fives is probably my favorite clone of the three here. So we'll start with him. I think Fives could easily be my favorite clone from the Dave Filoni Clone Wars series. One scene that always sticks out to me is during the Umbara arc, where he punches out the Umbara and breaks his dome, and then he ends up shooting him execution style. I think that's probably one of the more popular and iconic scenes from the Clone Wars series. So these three action figures here were the first clones, or the first ARC Troopers that were utilizing this Clone Trooper sculpt. And it's only been used for the ARC Troopers up until now. I'm surprised they haven't used it for any of the clones, and like the newly tooled Phase 2 clone that I reviewed previously. I just don't think we're going to be seeing this mold outside of the ARC Troopers, which is okay. It is a little bit short, which I'll show a comparison of what I mean by that here in a little bit. So there's Five's head sculpt there, or his helmet sculpt that is. And of course he does have a removable helmet. And he does have the 5 tattooed on his forehead there. He has the goatee. Looks really nice. I do recall, fortunately it wasn't so much with my sample, but a lot of the paint was very blotchy on this set at the time. And I know some of the clones, I don't know about Fives and Jesse so much, but at least Echo had a helmet that was a little too small for them. And it would only end up going like that far on a lot of people's. Fortunately, I don't have that problem with my set. And all 3 of these did get individual releases eventually. I think Fives was the first one, and he was VC 172, I think. Then you had Echo, who was VC 176, and then you had Jesse, that was around VC 250, somewhere in that range. And the only card I have of the 3 is Jesse, because I ended up getting a second Jesse later on, and I'll talk about that when I get to him. But fortunately, Fives' helmet sits on pretty good. The rangefinders are movable. There's his pauldron there. There's special markings on that. Blue markings on his arms there. The communicator sculpted on this side. It has his backpack there, which I believe, no, it's attached to the pauldron, so it's not really removable. You can take the whole pauldron off if you want. You just pop the head off and pull it off. And it does have this slot here where you can take this DC-15 rifle and plug it in right there with the magazine. Nice that they included that, because this ARC Trooper can carry each of their weapons. There's the comma there. Probably the most disappointing part about this set is because this comma is completely plastic and it hinders the articulation in the hips, so you can't really utilize it too much. And the legs there. So in terms of articulation, he does have, I think this is one of the first action figures that included like the double barbell there at the, or the double dumbbell at the head there. So he has a very good range of motion in his neck. He does have hinged shoulders, hinged elbows, hinged wrists. This one goes up and down, and this one goes up and down as well. So they both have the same motion. Does have a joint at the torso there, and he does have hinged hips, and he does have swivel thighs. Unfortunately, you can't really utilize the hips and the thigh too much because of this plastic comma in the way. And he does have hinged knees, and something innovative about that is they have the knee armor attached to his thigh here instead of on his leg. And he does have rocker ankles. In terms of weapons and accessories, as I showed, he has the smaller DC-15 rifle here. And he does have the DC-17 blaster pistols here, which are extremely small. I have seen, there is a seller on eBay that 3D prints extra DC-17 pistols that are more in scale with this action figure, and they look pretty good. I haven't got any yet, unfortunately. I might at some point. And as you can see, look at that. It's just really tiny. They are kind of loose in their holsters there, so if you flip your clone upside down, there's a good chance that both the blasters and the holsters there are going to fall out. So something to be wary of. Then, of course, they come with their longer DC-15 rifle, which is very flimsy, at least for the samples I have there. And it's just all cast in black. So these action figures do come with a load of accessories, and fortunately these ARC Troopers can carry every single one of them if you want them to. So that's Fives there. And let's go ahead and take a look at Echo next. Echo's the same exact action figure. The only difference is obviously Echo has his markings and a different head sculpt underneath. So he has Rex's bloody hand on his pauldron there. And interestingly enough, he has the ammo on his left side here, and Fives has it on his right side. So that's a nice detail. And he has a slightly different color comma here. This is more white, while Fives was gray and blue. And Echo just has blue on this side, and then white on that side. And the armor on his legs here is a little bit different as well. This one's more gray and has a little bit of a different pattern to it, while Fives is obviously a dark gray and has more blue in it. And there's Echo's head sculpt, which is more the generic Clone Trooper head sculpt that we've gotten with a few of the other ARC Troopers that were released after this. It looks pretty nice. Like I said, Echo is one of the action figures where people had a lot of problems with the helmets, and it was like that for some people. Fortunately, that's not the case with mine. So that's Clone Trooper Echo, and before I show you Jesse, I did mention I do have the package for him, so I'll show you that right now. And as you can see, unfortunately Hasbro did not do Jesse's helmet right. They just repainted the same exact helmet sculpt that they had for the other clones. But Jesse's not supposed to have the fin on top, and he doesn't have the rangefinder. But they noted it on the card art. It's the Clone Wars, ARC Trooper Jesse. And VC250, yeah. And I think I pretty much got all these reviewed on the channel now. I have all 4 of these. And now these 2, and then I have the Finger and Dan on the from the Moto Notes set reviewed on the channel if you want to check that out. I don't have that Din Djarin at this time, maybe someday. But that's just the package for Jesse. I got this on Entertainment Earth for like $11, and it was considered non-mint, and so part of the reason why I got it is because he does have a little bit of blotched paint on his helmet that I'll show you here right now. So I thought, well, I'll go ahead and get a spare just in case. And it was only 11 bucks. And as you can see on the helmet there, it is that blue paint is a little bit on the visor. And as I mentioned, it's Jesse's helmet's a little bit inaccurate because he has the fin there and he has the rangefinder, which are totally unnecessary for him. I have seen some people where they shave that off there, and of course you can take the rangefinder out, no problem, and you can make it a little bit more accurate. And he has the Republic symbol on his helmet there, very nice blue. Really like Jesse's blue. And his pauldron here is a little bit different color. This is more gray with just the blue stripe. And of course the blue shoulder there. And for his comma, it's more just gray and white. In fact, he doesn't have any blue in it at all. And for his legs here, they're much more blue compared to Fives and Echo. And as for his head, it's a very nice head sculpt. And he has that Republic symbol tattoo, which looks really nice. Hasbro did a very nice job on his Jesse's head sculpt there. And unfortunately for Jesse, since he has no hair, I don't recall hearing about any problems with people having difficulties putting his helmet on. So that's the 3 501st ARC Troopers for the vintage collection. Would I recommend this set? I totally would. At this point, the set is almost 3 years old now, and it'd probably be more convenient and cheaper for you just to go ahead and get all 3 of the action figures carded alone. I know 5s oftentimes is still in stock on sites like Entertainment Earth, and I think I saw them on Amazon for a decent price as well. Jesse's the same way. Echo, unfortunately, is out of production at this point, so you might have to pay a little bit more for him. But if you haven't got all 3 of these at this point, what are you doing? I think it's about time you can get these for your collection. Some of the best ARC Troopers and some of the best clone troopers in general that you can get. And I'll show you one other thing real quick. I mentioned this ARC Trooper sculpt is a little short, so we'll compare them with some of the other clones here. And I know this clone's not on a stand, but let's say he was. It's about the same height, actually. But yeah, you can see a little bit of the height difference between this clone and like Jesse there, for instance. It is pretty noticeable, and it's something that bugs some people. Not too big of a deal. It distinguishes the molds to me, so I can live with it a little bit more. But yeah, highly recommended set. They're all very nice, and they're all fan favorites. 5s, Echo, Jesse are some of the most beloved clones out there. They're some of my favorite, and I'm happy to have them for my collection. So anyways, that concludes this review. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for more reviews in the future. We'll be plenty more to come. And if you haven't already, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I greatly appreciate your support. And check out the links in the description as well. And thanks for watching.